The Point. 98.7 CKPM FM.
98.7 The Point. That's Struts. Put your money on me. There's an accident. They're playing bumper cars in New West. McBride and 8th. The northbound left lane is blocked, and the westbound left lane is blocked too. So if you're going through there, it's going to be a little bit slow. Chris Wilson's here, city councillor for Coquitlam, ex-Olympian, a member and a volunteer of Operation Red Nose and Kids Sport. And what don't you do?
Eat right now.
Oh, I know. This is why you're here. We make fun of this with Chris because we know Chris, but this is a very serious matter. You were on the Welfare Challenge, and tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's the 2016 Welfare Food Challenge. It's organized by a group that's trying to get the welfare rates raised in BC, and so this week we've challenged people throughout the province to try to live on $18 a week for food.
That's amazing. I looked at that, and as I was walking through the dollar store, I saw $18. I saw 39 cents Ikiban soup, okay, which is great. High sodium content, which is not great, but you could buy a ton of that, but you still can't live off of that, can you?
No, and just having that balance in the nutrition. I bought a can of luncheon meat, 300 grams, I think, for 88 cents. And most people say, well, why don't you buy ground beef instead? Well, a pound of ground beef is $4, right? Yeah. And so I bought this luncheon meat, chopped it all up, and put it in my spaghetti sauce to try to get some protein. And so it's really difficult. In 2013, 3 years ago, $26 was allotted for this challenge, and just in 3 years, the cost of living has gone up so much in Metro Vancouver. Especially
the cost of food, because I noticed over the summertime, oranges were like $1.69 a pound for an orange.
Produce, meats, even a loaf of bread now is way more. So. Yeah, it's a real challenge, and the whole idea here is to just try to create awareness. The rates have been frozen since 2007. So for a single person on welfare, it's $610 a month, and for that you have to pay rent, transportation, food, and also you're expected to be, seeking employment, so you have to have a phone. And so you think, well, how do you live on $610? And for years and years, the government has been saying, well, when we can afford it, we'll raise the rates. Well, there's a $2 billion surplus this year. And so I'm really hoping that this year the rates can be raised.
Well, you're right. And we're all human, and we look at that and we realize that people do need help. There are some people who do need the welfare help, and there are some people who abuse the system, and we're here to help the people who need the help. Now, you've got the ear of local politicians. You're friends with some on the Liberal side and the NDP side. What are they doing to help you? I know it's easy for the opposition to say, yeah, we're going to do this because they're not in power. They don't have the purse strings. But the ones that are in power, what does he or she say?
Well, I'm actually hoping to meet with Linda Reamer, the Liberal MLA in our area here this week. I called her office last week. I actually spoke to her last night just to try to follow up. So I'm hoping to have an official meeting with her just to find out, what her views are on it and what the province's plan is for it. And also I'm meeting with Mike Farnworth later this week as well to get the NDP side of it, because I don't want to make this a political thing. It's not about bashing the government or anything like that, but we want our society to be a great society. We want to be inclusive. We want all people to be contributing members of our society. Well, if somebody is just focusing on surviving, they're not going to be contributing members of society. They're going to be stuck in that kind of a system for years and years, and that's not what we want.
No, you're absolutely right. Now, if you had the purse strings for a day or two, what would you do to change this? What do you think is fair for welfare rates? How would you deal with this if you were in charge?
Well, that's a tough question. I think for a single person, raising the rates from $610 to maybe around $750 at least. I haven't given it enough thought as to what the solutions are. But the province has done a great job recently in bringing in a program for single mothers, right? And so a single mother on welfare can get retraining paid for. If it's in a certain type of industry, and while they're doing the retraining, they get childcare paid for. And then the first year, when they go back to work, they get childcare paid for. So that's an amazing program that actually can really help somebody get out of this treadmill of poverty. And so I think, expanding something like that for people with disabilities and for single males and really, investing money in the short term so that we can get, people off the welfare system in the long term is what really needs to happen.
I was just trying to track down the amount of people that are seeking welfare assistance here, and I really can't find a quick answer. Do you know how many people are on?
I think in BC it's 180,000 out of 5 million.
That's still, it's not bad, but it's a lot. And understand with this food bank challenge here, you cannot go to the Share Society for help on this.
Yeah, no, you can't use a food bank. You can't take food from anybody else. I mean, I'm living in a house with 4 other people. I've got to eat my own food. And the whole idea is to actually experience what it's like, right?
Yeah.
And so far, this is just the start of day 4 for me, and so I have 3 more days after this. And it's been a really enlightening experience. When I used to wrestle, we had to watch our weight to make our weight classes and that sort of thing. So I'm no stranger to being hungry, although it's been a long time since I've had to do that. But I am of anybody who taken this challenge. I think I'm the best equipped to do it. I have a supportive family. I have a secure house. I have a vehicle. I can get around. And I'm only doing it for a week, right? But imagine living this way week after week after week and not having transportation, not having a supportive network of friends. It's just, this is no way to treat people.
You're right, and the social side of me says that you're absolutely right, and then there's the fiscal side that says, what do we do to get people off of welfare, and how do we find the cheaters in there and the people that are lazy that just expect this, and there's that, the cynical side of me. But you touched on something about your network of support, and we might see that, whether it be a kid going to school hungry or a mom that is just waiting for a bus, that we don't know how hungry they are. We don't know what their life is, and we're quick to shun them a lot of times. And whereas I know your situation right now, and I feel kind of sorry for you. And, it's interesting how we deal with these things.
Well, and I appreciate you feeling sorry for me, but I'm doing just fine, thanks.
Of course you are.
But, we as a society, like food banks, breakfast programs at schools, lunch programs at schools, these are being normalized, And somebody on welfare is expected to almost be required to use the food bank, and if you're a family on welfare, you're expected to survive on a breakfast program at a school run by a charity. Well, what if you go to a school that doesn't have a breakfast program? As a society, we've really got to look and say, this is not the way we want to treat, people who are struggling. And from a fiscal standpoint, the province brought in new regulations in the early 2000s that made it a lot more difficult to go on welfare. And, you have to have a work plan and all this stuff that's in place. Tons of people were dropped from the welfare roll. So there's a lot less people nowadays on social assistance than there was, yet the cost of living is so high. And that's one of the reasons why we have such a homeless problem.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that, and there's got to be things. I mean, it'd be nice just to wipe everything off, just start with a blank slate again, and allocate the money and the resources to where they have to go and where they should go, because we seem to waste a lot of money. There's just so much that can be done.
Well, and I don't want to say it's a simple solution, right? Not. I mean, this is a very, very complicated issue, just like, all kinds of other issues that governments have to deal with. But I really think as a society, we have to look at ourselves and say, what do we really want as a society? And how do we think the most vulnerable people in our community should be supported? Yeah,
you're absolutely right. And there's not much we can do right now with the welfare rates, but what you can do to help is donate to the Share Society. You know what? And then the food bank is essential in our community. It does great work. It's extremely efficient. The registered dietitians of Canada say it for somebody my age and my size, I should eat about $68 a week worth of food. So I'm saving $50 this week. So I'm donating that $50 to the food bank, and others have joined me, and they're doing the same. And the food bank needs support year round. I think. That people can go to the Raise the Rates website and sign the petition to have the rates raised.
It's an election year. The province has been making a lot of announcements, and I really, really hope that this week they make an announcement that they're raising the welfare rates.
Okay, is there a federal government hand in this too, or is it all provincial?
This is a provincial issue, yeah. The federal government has a big responsibility in terms of housing, in addition to the province. But when it comes to social assistance programs, it's all the province. But you know what? There's only one taxpayer, right? We all have to work together on these issues. Some are municipal issues, some are federal, some are provincial. But the more cooperation we can have to try to create a fair, supportive, yet still efficient system, that's what we need.
You're absolutely right. And for those of you that are saying, well, yeah, I don't want to listen to this, I don't want to have any part of this, think of this. Most of you are 1 or 2 paychecks away from losing your house and having to depend on the food bank. So think about that.
Definitely. And that's, all kinds of studies have come out in the last year, 2 years, with people being overextended with credit cards and mortgages. And definitely, just one bad move, one bad bit of luck, and you're hooped. And let alone thinking about having to go to the dentist, right? Somebody on welfare, a single person on welfare, that's got to come out of your welfare check, right? If you have children, your children are covered with a dental support, but individuals aren't, So all kinds of things that can come up, and you have no way of paying for it.
Excellent. Chris Wilson, City Councillor, City of Coquitlam. He's part of Operation Red Nose. We're going to get you and talk about that soon. And, of course, kids sport. And right now you're doing the welfare challenge, $18 to live on for food for the week. Wish you luck for the rest of the week.
Thanks a lot, Rod. I really appreciate your support.